With all the shenanigans that's going on in boxing, the latest has a question of, has Shakur Stevenson used a ploy of aging Tank out, looking to not face Tank until Tank gets to a certain point in his career? Or is it more of the blame game by the Davis camp to explain why they're not fighting his contemporaries? In an era where contemporaries are not looking to face off, but to turn face away from one another, we're seeing more and more of how the sport of boxing and the era that has committed to these circumstances is starting to phase out. But when you talk about the likes of Gervonta Tank Davis and Shakur Stevenson, there are elements of why they haven't fought yet being floated around amongst the boxing community. And when you have people who work for these men, such as Coach Kenny Ellis, who's out of the Davis camp, implying that Stevenson has missed the boat by not taking the fight with Tank when it was originally offered to him. You see, this is a form of shielding that we've seen so much over the years, but that phase is coming to an end quickly because more of the new contemporary fighters are looking for opportunity to prove themselves and their position in the sport. Others are looking to protect, thereby shielding someone. Like in this instance, we're talking about Tank Davis. Do you realize that though he's a multiple-time champion, Davis has never faced any of his serious contemporaries, meaning the likes of Shakur Stevenson, Vasyl Lomachenko, Teofimo Lopez, and when we also mentioned Devin Haney. So when you look at these fighters, they could make their name and fame facing one another, but for a fight that is being billed as the best fight in boxing, the Davis camp hasn't looked to score against any of these men. And so when you talk about someone missing a boat, the person that's truly missing the boat is Davis, because these men will still be around, though he be anywhere from 3 to 5 years older than the next man up. He will have gone through his entire career without a true test and not having certain advantages and privileges that are given to certain fighters by the sanctioning bodies. Oh, and dare I mention that the sanctioning bodies are going to quickly become not a stronger factor in fights being made, because fighters can make fights without the sanctioning bodies, especially when you have the likes of Turki Al-Sheikh participating in promoting boxing. So when a fighter like Shakur Stevenson, whose record presently now is 23-0 with 11 KOs, Stevenson is an outright boxer, a defensive specialist, and a fighter who rarely loses a round in his matches. and he's only looking to prove himself against the best. He doesn't have the most winning of personalities, but his skills are undeniable in the ring, and that's where we should focus, on what happens in the ring. Although he gets drawn into the social media aspect of things, believing that that's promotion, self-promotion, but to refrain from doing that would be in his best interest. So when you talk about a fighter that could be on the flip side of him facing off in the near future, Gervonta Tank Davis, he has a reputation of being a knockout puncher and a crowd-pleasing fighter for getting people out of there. Davis has scored a record that has seen him be very effective with a record of 30-0 with 1 draw and 28 KOs. But he's unwilling to move up against better fighters at a division higher, and he's been eyeballing fighters that are a division, if not more than one, below him. So what is he really trying to do? Is he just trying to thrive in the sport and survive in the sport, or is he looking to put a best effort forward? I think it's the former. He's looking to thrive and survive. But again, his generation is going to pass him by. The likes of Shakur Stevenson, who likes to befriend other fighters, usually in his case, so that he can be in a situation where he doesn't have to commit to facing off against friends. That's not something that is an admirable quality. It's something that the fan base is starting to reject, and he's going to have to turn his thinking around before things can get done in an appropriate way. But what do you think? This is Stormy B Man. Shout out to the mighty LDBC and Liberated Perspective, a third eye view of the world. For more content such as this, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Let me know what you think about these contemporaries who are unwilling to face one another. Peace to everyone out there, and everyone remain safe.